Welcome back. We are continuing to shine a spotlight on some of the members in our community who are of Asian or Pacific Islander descent in honor of Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And at the top of the hour, I shared my interview with Representative Julie Yamamoto. I also sat down with Representative Sue Chu. Here's her story.
I'm very beholden to my ancestors and the folks that come before me. I'm very aware of that on a daily basis.
Representative Sue Chu has had a front row seat to a lot of changes in her 18 years in the Idaho legislature. But her journey, witnessing history, started long before her time as an Idaho lawmaker.
My dad was one of the very first Chinese lawyers in California.
Chu grew up during the civil rights era in California, a time of unrest and discrimination.
There's always been so much friction for us. Back in the old days, we weren't recognized at all. So the fact that we have this is really important.
Even as a kid in Oakland, she says she went to school where there were very few people who weren't white.
As a first and second grader, I was beaten every day. Where I come from, one of my classmates was black, and he took the BART station in the Bay Area to Walnut Creek to watch a basketball game. He never made it back, and when people followed to see what happened to him, they found him in a tree. Someone hung him. So that's what we come from.
So when she was in pharmacy school and looking to work in geriatrics, she chose to come to Idaho, which was one of 3 places in the U.S. at that time that had a geriatrics pharmacy program. She also had a family friend here at the time.
So I called her, and I said, Sandy, you doing a geriatric residency? And she says, yes, I am. And I'm like, and do they hang people like us up in Idaho? And she said, no, Sue. And I'm like, good.
And that's how she ended up in the Gem State.
I think what's important for me is the idea of giving back to my community. I can specifically give back to my Asian communities. So, you know, when we had the anti-Asian hate that was associated with COVID and things, our communities had to come together. I mean, for the most part, I find here in Idaho, folks from our Asian communities that I've dealt with, when things happen to them in terms of anti-Asian hate, they don't want to tell anybody about it. They just want to move on. But we needed to unify our community.
A unity among all generations of Asian Americans. This last election, Chu says 30 kids, most of them Asian, organized and ran her campaign. She says they have a different way of doing things, and that was seen when they marched through downtown Boise.
They got standing applauses by all these people. Much different outcome than me. They experienced it in a very positive, uplifting way. And my old ways coming from the civil rights time is I would have had it shut down and controlled. I would never have done that. The kids found no harm and they found love.
Having lived through the civil rights era, Chu says it makes having a month dedicated to Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month all the more special.
Instead of having to try and blend in, you could actually be you now. I think it's so important that people are upstanders or willing to learn to be upstanders, right? And help each other. Be open to folks that are different than you. And also, you know, a lot of folks have carried some historic trauma that they themselves have dealt with, or you know, is in their genetic background. So if someone's triggered, maybe just give them a little bit of space. Just love each other. We're not perfect, right? None of us are.
And Representative Chu is also the first Idaho lawmaker who is Chinese, as well as the first Asian female Idaho lawmaker. And coming up tomorrow, right here on the News at 4, we have one more story for you, part 5 of our Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month stories. And I actually interviewed my parents, and that's coming up tomorrow.
Did you learn anything about them in that interview?
Surprisingly, yes, actually, yeah, you know, so, I'll share it with everyone here tomorrow as well.
A different context, learning different things. That's cool. I can't wait to see that, Shira.